హలో స్టూడెంట్స్, వెల్కమ్ టు ఎస్వి టెక్నాలజీ. ఈ వీడియోలో మనం సిఓఏ సబ్జెక్ట్ బీటెక్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్ ఇంటరప్ట్ సైకిల్ గురించి నేర్చుకోబోతున్నాం. వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్వశ్చన్ ఫర్ యువర్ ఫైనల్ ఎగ్జామ్, ఇంటరప్ట్ సైకిల్. బిఫోర్ గోయింగ్ టు ద ఇంటరప్ట్ సైకిల్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు నో వాట్ ఈజ్ ఇంటరప్ట్. మనం ఇంతకుముందు క్లాస్లో ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ సైకిల్ గురించి నేర్చుకున్నాం. ఈ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ సైకిల్లో మనకు మెయిన్గా 4 ఫేజెస్ ఉంటాయని చెప్పినాను. అందులో ఫెచ్ ఫేజ్ ఒకటి, డీకోడ్ ఫేజ్ ఒకటి, రీడ్ ఎఫెక్టివ్ అడ్రస్ అనేది ఒకటి, లాస్ట్ వచ్చేసి ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్ సైకిల్ అనేది ఒకటి ఉంటుంది. ఈ రీడ్ ఎఫెక్టివ్ అడ్రస్ అనేది ఆప్షనల్ అని కూడా చెప్పుకున్నాం. అవసరం ఉంటేనే రిట్రైవ్ చేస్తాం, లేకపోతే ఈ స్టెప్ చేయకుండా మిగిలిన 3 స్టెప్స్ చేస్తామని చెప్తాం. ఇక్కడ ఇంటరప్ట్ అంటే ఏంటి అంటే, వెన్ ఏ ప్రాసెస్ ఈజ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటింగ్ బై ద సిపియు అండ్ వెన్ ఏ యూజర్ రిక్వెస్ట్ ఫర్ అనదర్ ప్రాసెస్, దెన్ ఇట్ విల్ క్రియేట్ డిస్టర్బెన్స్ ఫర్ ద రన్నింగ్ ప్రాసెస్. సో వైల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటింగ్ ఏ ప్రాసెస్, if anyone interrupted with another process, then it is called as interrupt. It causes some disturbance in processing. This is called interrupt. This interrupt may occur because of internal activity or external activity. In simple terms, మనం ఏదైనా ఒక ప్రాసెస్ని ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ సైకిల్లో ఇంకొక ప్రాసెస్ వచ్చి డిస్టర్బ్ చేస్తే దాన్ని మనం ఇంటరప్ట్ అంటాం. ఈ ఇంటరప్ట్ అనేది ఇంటర్నల్ ఇంటరప్ట్ ఉండొచ్చు, లేదా ఎక్స్టర్నల్ ఇంటరప్ట్ కూడా ఉండొచ్చు. అయితే ఈ ఇంటరప్ట్ని నేను మన టర్మినాలజీలో ఏం చెప్తాను అంటే, ఇంటరప్ట్ ఈజ్ ఏ స్పెషల్ సిగ్నల్ విచ్ నీడ్స్ టు బి ఎగ్జిక్యూటెడ్ ఇమీడియట్లీ whenever CPU receives the interrupt signal. CPU stops current executing program and control shift to the interrupt program, and it executes that interrupt program first, then goes to the current running program. So whenever interrupt is occurred, whenever interrupt is signaled, CPU stops working program. Okay, current working program will be stopped and the control goes to the interrupt. After completing that interrupt request only or interrupt program only, it again comes back to the present running program. Now that is only I am saying here. Once interrupt program is completed, CPU will go back and execute remaining instructions. So here I have explained this interrupt cycle in a diagram. Okay, so what is that diagram? We will see here. So this is interrupt cycle diagram. So in this interrupt cycle diagram we have few notations. Here I am seeing R, right? R is interrupt flip-flop. Okay, what is R? R is interrupt flip-flops. So you know that what is interrupt flip-flop. Simply flip-flop is a place where you can store either 0 or 1. Okay, so suppose if R is 0, okay, what I said, if R is 0, R flip-flop stored with 0 means there is no interrupt in the instruction cycle. So it goes to fetch, decode the instruction phase, and it goes to execution phase, and it executes the instruction directly. But here if R is 1, okay, what is mean by 1? The process is having some interruption. Okay, so it goes to this side. I will explain clearly, don't worry. So what is first notation or first component in our interrupt cycle? That is R. what is our interrupt flip-flop. Okay, flip-flop. Next, second, we have r is equal to 0, there is no interrupt. If r is equal to 1, is there some interrupt is there. Next is IEN. Okay, so what is IEN? Interrupt enable on. What is mean by IEN? Interrupt enable on. Okay, next వచ్చేసి FGI. You know that what is FGI clearly. What is FGI? Flag input. So while discussing about input output organization or input output configuration, I have explained about FGI. What is mean by FGI? FGI is flag input. Next, FGO. What is FGO? FGO is flag output. So these are the notations we have. So what are the notations we have and what is the purpose of that component or notation? I will explain here clearly. Okay, what are the things we have here? First one is R. R is a flip-flop which can store either 0 or 1. If it stores 0, there is no interruption. If it stores 1, is there some interruption is there. And next, what is IEN? Interrupt enable. Okay, on. IEN means interrupt enable on. So if it is 0, if IEN is 0, there is no interruption. If IEN is 1, there some interruption is there. Next, FGI, flag input. If it is 0, there is no interruption through input devices. If it is 1, there is some interruption is there. Next, FGO, flag output. If FGO is 0, there is no interrupt. If FGO is 1, there some interruption is there. So like this, we will see everything clearly. So you have known just what is R, what is I, what is FGI, what is FGO, and what is interrupt and what is interruption. Okay, now here the interrupt flip-flop is included in computer while doing instruction cycle. When R is equal to 0 means interrupt flip-flop is 0, computer goes through instruction cycle, means there is no interruption, so it goes to instruction cycle to execute the program. Okay, to execute the program, it goes to instruction cycle. So during the execution phase, during the fetch phase and decode phase, there is no problem. During that phases, no problem, it goes to execution phase. Here, while working with fetch phase and decode phase, it checks IEN, interrupt enable on. If interrupt enable is 0, there is no problem. It continues with instruction cycle. If interrupt enable is on, means it is 1, it checks the FGI and FGO for any interruption is there in input or output devices. Okay, so if both the bits are 0, there is no interruption from input output organization. Any one of this is 1. Okay, any one of this is 1. Either FGI is 1 or FGO is 1. What happens? The R is going to be set to 1. Means R is going to set to 1. Means some interruption is there. It has to follow another path. At the end of execution phase, control checks the value of R, and if it is equal to 1, it goes to interrupt cycle instead of instruction cycle. Okay, so now what happens in interrupt cycle? So now instead of going to this side, instead of going to left side, it goes to right side. Okay, so why? R is equal to 1. R is equal to 1 means some interruption is there, so it goes to this side. When it goes to interruption side, if R is equal to 0 or if IEN is equal to 1 and FGI is 1 or FGO is 1, any one of these gives the result 1, it goes to R set to 1 and it goes to right side. Right side indicates the interrupt cycle. R is equal to 1, IEN is equal to 1, FGI or FGO, any one of these or both will be 1. Okay, now the clock transaction goes to T0, T1 or T2. Okay, T0, T1, T2 times will be activated and store return address in location from PC, means it goes back to the PC and send the address, whatever the contents of PC, to the memory value. Okay, now what are the sequence of operations we are going to perform in interrupt cycle? I am going to write here. What are the operations I am going to perform? So first operation is R at T0 time, address register will be filled with 0 and PC will be transferred to TR, and at the time of T1 PC will become 0 and the contents of TR will be sent to MAR, and at the time of T2 the PC counter will be incremented with 1 and IEN will become 0 and R will become 0, sequence counter will become 0. This is all about interrupt cycle. So for more classes like this, please do subscribe to my channel and support. ఒకవేళ మీరు ఈ ఛానల్ని ఫస్ట్ టైం చూస్తున్నట్లయితే సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోండి, సపోర్ట్ చేయండి.